G'day everyone. Today we're going to go through how to service and maintain your own vehicle. It's a super simple process, but there are a few things we have to look out for. So let's get started. We'll have a look at what we need to do and what we need to have to change the oil and the filters on our own vehicle. First thing we need to check is the vehicle's warranty. If the vehicle is new enough and covered under warranty, changing the oil ourselves may void that. We need to make sure we're using a qualified and competent person to do the job and that they are allowed to do the job under that new vehicle's warranty. The last thing you want to do is have a warranty claim rejected because you changed the oil yourself. Of course, all my cars are much older than that and we'll be changing the oil ourselves. If your car falls under that, we'll keep going to the next step. Our next reference is the service manual in the vehicle, usually located in the glove box. This will tell us what we need to buy and what we need to do at this service interval. So in my case, I have around about 500,000 kilometers on this car. Of course, the book doesn't go that far, but we can multiply out the intervals. So if you're at 300,000 and your book doesn't go that far, it's equivalent to the 150,000 service. So I'm equivalent to the 180,000 service, and it says here that I need to change the oil, of course, the oil filter, the fuel filter, and the air filter as well, along with a few other things to check during this interval and a few things to lubricate like propeller shafts. So we know what we need to buy based on what the book tells us. We buy what we need to get, and of course we need to make sure we get the right oil. Okay, lastly, before we do the oil change, we need to make sure we get the right type of oil and the right quantity of oil as well. Most of that can be found on the internet. Most places in store will also have QR codes, and this bottle has a QR code on it as well. We can scan that, put in our make and model, and of course our engine type, and it will tell us what oil for the vehicle and what capacity as well. This particular one is a part synthetic 15W40 multi-grade oil. It's on the thicker end of the spectrum, but still recommended for the Toyota Hilux. Now that 15W40 rating basically tells you how thick the oil is, and being a multi-grade, it changes how it acts depending on how you warm it up. So 15 is the spec for cold, W meaning winter, and 40 is the hot spec. There was a time before multi-grade oils, you'd have a winter oil, and then in summer you'd change to a summer oil when you change the oil in your vehicle. We no longer need to do that. We buy a multi-grade and it acts as both. The larger the number, the thicker the oil is. So a 15W40 is thicker than a 5W30. 1540 is a little bit thick for this vehicle, but it is still recommended. And of course, it's a very old Hilux with lots of Ks on it. A thicker oil is probably a better way to go. Things are a little bit worn. So we're going to use that one. And of course, we have all the filters here we need to change. So let's get started. Of course, there's a couple of tools we're going to need. We do have a filter wrench here. Make sure you've got one that fits your filter. There's a few different types. And we have a container that's going to at least have 10 liters of capacity to catch all the oil coming out of the engine and out of the filter as well. And we're going to lay some cardboard down just in case we have a few drips or leaks. And just check your sump plug and make sure that it's not a one-use sump plug. It's not some plastic type that when you undo it, you can't put it back in again and you have to buy a new one. And of course, make sure you have a sump plug washer if your car doesn't have a copper reusable sump plug washer like mine will have. I'm sure the sump plug can be used over and over again, but I do have some copper washers here if I need to change that gasket out. Just make sure you do that before you drop your oil, because if you drop your oil and then you find you need a new sump plug gasket or it's a one-use sump plug, of course you can't put oil back in and drive your vehicle. So check that before you drop any oil. You may need to go to the shop and get yourself a sump plug washer or an entirely new sump plug, depending on the design of your sump. Now, the vehicle we're doing this oil change on today is a Toyota Hilux diesel 1KD-FTV engine. It's pretty much the same no matter what car you're working on. We need to park it on solid, level ground. I've warmed up the car just a little bit. It's not operating temperature, but we have warmed it up a little bit before dropping the oil. And we're going to identify where the sump plug is. In this case here, it is rearward facing and it is a 14mm socket needed. We don't need to remove any bash guards, but for other four-wheel drives, you may need to. And of course, if it's a two-wheel drive vehicle, you may need to put it on ramps or jack it off the ground. Just make sure it's safe before getting underneath it. Once we have that bolt cracked, we can go ahead, put the bucket where we think it's going to need to be and pull the sump plug out, much like this. I've used an extension to keep my hands clean and just make sure that sump plug comes off with the socket. And as you can see here, the old versus the new sump plug washer, you can clean them up a little bit with some wet and dry, but they're fairly cheap and easy to replace. So that's what we're going to do. While that engine oil is draining, we have identified where the filter is. Now, of course, we've got the correct filter for the job, and we have a tool here that we need to make sure when we're turning this tool that it does actually clamp up. If you get it the wrong way around, when you go to undo it, it'll actually loosen. So make sure that them arms are pulling in the right direction. And we're just going to use a fairly long extension here and a 3/8 ratchet to just crack the oil filter, and then we'll spin it off by hand. It shouldn't be too tight. It would have been tightened by hand last time. We just need to crack it with the tool and then spin it off by hand. This particular filter is facing in a downward direction, meaning as soon as we undo it, oil is going to go everywhere. There's not much we can do to avoid that in this case. We just need to be pretty fast about it. Spin the filter, flip it the right way up, and get it out of the engine bay, and hopefully we haven't spilt too much oil. The bucket and the cardboard are underneath the car for this reason, and the bucket should capture pretty much all the oil that we're going to drop. It's in the right area, and we just need to make sure we clean the rest up with a rag. Now, of course, we want this to be very clean, this engine oil filter adapter here. Make sure there's no contaminants. Clean it up as much as possible before fitting the new filter. Of course, we keep the new filter in its bag as long as possible to keep any dirt out of it. And we do need to lubricate that gasket there. A little bit of engine oil on that gasket. It makes it easy to fit and also makes it easy to come off again when we need to remove the filter for the next service. So make sure we definitely lubricate that gasket, and then we'll tighten it down until the gasket touches, and then we'll just nip it up by hand. We don't need to go too crazy with a filter wrench or anything here. We just wind it down till it stops and then tighten it up by hand. Maybe take your gloves off and make sure that everything's nice and clean and dry so you're not slipping on the filter, and a little bit of degreaser here when we're done to get rid of any oil we may have dropped. Now, of course, we need to tighten up this sump plug. We've finished draining the oil. We've cleaned the sump plug with a new washer, and we're going to tighten it up to 25 foot-pounds and just make sure we nip it up and clean around the sump plug so we know if there's any leaks. Okay, next we can drag the oil out nice and smoothly so we don't spill any, and we're going to decant that back into the container that the new oil came into, and we'll dispose of it properly later. We want to clean our funnel nice and clean with some degreaser. We don't want any contaminants going into the engine with our new oil. Make sure everything's clean around the filler as well, and we can remove that filler cap and install our funnel ready for all that new oil. Now, officially, this engine takes 6.9 litres with a filter change as well. I found it to be a little bit less than that in my case. Maybe I didn't drain it properly, but around 6 litres. Check your dipstick and we can just go a little bit from there. You don't want to overfill it because, of course, you'll have to go back under and remove the sump plug. So 6 litres, have a look. Run it up to 6.9 litres. I did overfill it a little bit on purpose to allow for that filter once we start the engine. Now, as for the fuel filter, it's not always recommended to change it every time you change your oil, but I do. They're cheap. It's good insurance against any bad fuel getting through the system, causing any problems. I just go ahead and I change it every single time I change the oil. There is a retainer here. It's like a plastic band, and we rotate it in a normal direction, and we're going to be rotating it away from the top housing, as you can see there, and we can lift the fuel filter out. It has an O-ring on the top that you can't see here, but there is an O-ring on the top of that white plastic housing. Once we remove all of that, get it out of the way, it might leak a bit of diesel around, but we can clean that later. We can go ahead and change the O-ring on the housing. Most of these kits will come with a housing O-ring, a filter O-ring, and the seal on the top for the outlet side of the filter as well. I'm just going to lube it with a little bit of diesel and make sure that retainer is still loose. And we can go ahead and fit the top seal to the fuel filter housing. It sits on the top like that, and you just push it over with the taper facing upwards, much like that. Try not to touch the fuel filter element. Some of these fuel filters will also have a secondary gauze at the bottom. These don't. I don't think it matters. It's never been a problem for me, but this one doesn't have the secondary gauze. Yours may do. You can see I've fitted the new O-ring to the top of the fuel filter as well. So that's 3 O-rings in total, one for the housing, one for the filter, and that one on the top for the outlet side where the priming pump is. We push that down and make sure it's gone over the O-rings and it feels correct, and we should be able to tighten that band by hand. Of course, we're now screwing it in the opposite direction, and we're pulling it up against the top of the filter housing there, and we're going to pull it all together. It can be quite tight. you may need to put some force on the top of the housing and just make sure it screws all the way. There are some arrows there that should, in my case, lined up with the outlet hose there. That was all the way home, it was tight, and that's where they ended up. Of course, we need to prime it next. It's a small priming pump. We can just prime it by hand here. Just keep pushing it until it goes firm. Once it goes firm, you'll know you've primed it up because of course you won't be able to prime it anymore. Now, as for the air filter, super simple on this particular Hilux. Some will be a filter like this. Others might be a panel filter, but the design is mostly the same across most cars. You undo the clips, remove the top of the filter housing like this, and we can remove the filter. It's a bit tight if you don't take the hose off or you don't remove the MAF sensor plug. I didn't need to. You can lift the old filter out. This is a radial seal style. And of course, here's the new one here. Looks a bit cleaner, a bit whiter, and will do the job for a long time to come. You can also vacuum out any bugs and leaves and stuff out of here, which I've done here. I'm just going to vacuum out anything that's a bit big and loose before fitting the new filter. Of course, the seal side like this, you can see it goes up and it seals against the lid of the airbox. Just make sure that the filter is sitting squarely where it should be in the bottom. There's a bit of a relief for it. And then make sure the lid engages with the seal on the top. You'll feel it go into place and you should be able to push the lid down and all the clips will hold it in position once you've got that seal intact with the top of that filter lid. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I've removed the EFI fuse from the fuse box here, basically turning the injectors off and not allowing this engine to start. The reason I've done that is because I want to crank it over with the starter motor like I'm doing here. Not for too long, we don't want to burn out the starter motor or anything like that, but we're going to swing it over with the starter motor until we gain oil pressure. And as you can see here, the second time I did it, boom, the oil light went off, which means we now have oil pressure. We've filled the oil filter full of oil and we've done it on the starter. We haven't had the engine run with no oil pressure. It's better for the bottom end and better for the car in general. We can put the EFI fuse back in. And of course we can prime this again because swinging the engine over on the starter motor will have pulled a bit of air into that system and this will guarantee it will start. And of course, as soon as we start it, the oil pressure light went off straight away, meaning it's running with oil pressure and we never ran it without oil pressure. It's always a good thing and it's a bit of a good idea just to look after your engine a little bit more, to swing it over with the starter motor to gain oil pressure. Of course, once we've ran it for a while, give it a few minutes running, check that oil again once you've turned the car off, give it a couple of minutes to settle and check the oil again. And as a bit of a bonus, this is where the cabin filter is on this particular Hilux. Behind the glove box, it's flexible and you can just flex these two little locking tabs out of the way and the glove box will open more and expose a lot of red dust, but also expose the location of the cabin filter. We just push this tab here and there it is. We can replace it and clean it. Just make sure we put it the right way up. There is an arrow for up and it's that easy. Other than that, double check your oil after you've taken it for a bit of a drive. Make sure there's no leaks. Make sure your level is correct. And thank you very much for watching.